You know, going to a massive festival like Coachella, it feels like a rite of passage, right? But man, it comes with a serious price tag. So in this explainer from our friends at Augusta Global Insights, we're going to look at how people are actually affording it and what that tells us about a really big, kind of hidden shift happening in our economy.
Okay, so let's just start with one number, 60%. 60. Now, on its own, that might not sound like a huge deal, but trust me, it is the absolute heart of this whole Coachella story. It's this wild mix of social pressure, new school finance, and, well, a hidden risk that's been quietly building up in the background.
First things first, let's just set the stage here. The desire to be at these huge cultural moments, it's stronger than it's ever been. But the price of admission? Well, that's getting steeper and steeper.
Yeah, you heard that right. Just the tickets, they can run you over $600. And that's before you even think about travel, food, a place to sleep. I mean, you're easily looking at a major luxury expense. For a lot of young people, that is a massive hurdle to clear. So it begs the question, right? How on earth are they pulling this off?
And this is that 60% I was talking about. So get this, according to Billboard, if you go back to 2009, only about 18% of people going to Coachella were using installment plans. Fast forward to today, and that number has just exploded to 60%. I mean, this isn't some small tweak, it's a fundamental shift in how we think about paying for big-ticket items. Which of course leads us to the next big question, why now? What's changed?
To really get this massive shift, we've got to look beyond just the dollars and cents. We have to look at the cultural pressures that are shaping what younger generations truly value.
Look, in a world that's basically run by social media, the pressure to show up and be seen is just immense. That fear of missing out, or FOMO, is a powerful, powerful thing. For a lot of people, spending isn't just about buying stuff anymore. It's about crafting an identity, finding your tribe. And these experiences become totally non-negotiable, even when the bank account is screaming, no.
And this is where that generational gap just becomes crystal clear. Check it out. 42% of Gen Z and millennials used buy now, pay later services in 2024. That is literally double the rate of older generations. This is the exact financial tool that's making all those expensive experiences seem possible.
And this is the real kicker. For most of its young users, buy now, pay later isn't just some neat, convenient trick. Nope, it is literally the difference between being able to afford something and having to sit on the sidelines and miss out. It's become this bridge to a lifestyle that always feels just out of arm's reach.
So what exactly is this tool that's closing that affordability gap and totally reshaping our spending habits? Let's take a closer look at the big promise of buy now, pay later.
Okay, so at its core, BNPL is actually really simple. It's just a way to chop up a big purchase into smaller, easier-to-swallow payments. And a lot of the time, there's no interest. It feels totally seamless when you're checking out, and it takes away that immediate sting of a big expense. So yeah, it's become an incredibly popular alternative to old-school credit cards.
And when I say popular, I don't just mean it's growing. It's absolutely exploding. In the US alone, the BNPL market blew up by a jaw-dropping 970% in just 2 years. Seriously. This wasn't a slow build, it was a firestorm that completely redrew the map of consumer credit.
But, and there's always a but, right? There's a hidden cost to all this convenience. Last year, 42% of all BNPL users made at least one late payment. And that tells you something important. Even though the payments are smaller, they can still be a real struggle for a lot of people to keep up with.
And this points to a much bigger worry. BNPL isn't just for fun stuff anymore, like festival tickets or a new pair of shoes. According to LendingTree, nearly a third of users are now using it to pay for basic necessities like groceries. That's a huge red flag for growing financial fragility, where people are leaning on debt just to cover their day-to-day lives.
So this whole trend of using debt for daily essentials, it points to a much, much bigger problem. The risk isn't just about a few individual late payments. It's becoming a systemic issue that's been flying completely under the radar.
So let me just ask you this. What happens to our financial system when a huge chunk of debt is, well, essentially invisible? What happens when the people lending money can't see the full picture of who they're lending to?
So welcome to the world of phantom debt. It's a pretty wild concept. See, because most of these buy now, pay later loans aren't reported to the big credit bureaus. They just don't show up on a credit report at all. So you could have like 5 different BNPL loans going with 5 different companies, and a traditional lender, say a bank for a mortgage or a car loan, would have absolutely no idea. The entire credit system is basically flying blind.
I mean, you can see the difference so clearly right here. Unlike credit cards, which require hard credit checks and report your every move, BNPL pretty much operates in the shadows. And this creates a really dangerous situation where lenders just can't accurately figure out the risk, all because this phantom debt doesn't show up anywhere. It's a system that's literally built on incomplete information.
So, all of this leaves us with a really critical question. The whole promise of buy now, pay later offers this incredible convenience and access to things we want. But when that convenience has a hidden cost, this invisible debt and this growing financial weakness, who's the one that really pays the price in the end? Is it the individual consumer, or is it the entire financial system?
And that's our breakdown for this week. If you want to go way deeper into phantom debt and what's next for consumer credit, you've got to check out the full report from Augusta Global Insights. We've got the link for you right in the description.